Well, the Mets complete a 3-game sweep of the Tigers. They've won 7 out of 10. They scored 22 runs in the 3 games against the Tigers. They got the Yankees coming in tomorrow for a 3-game Subway Series. They're back, right? Mets back in it. Turn the season around. AJ Ewing is the catalyst. Everything going right. I would say pump the brakes on that a little bit, but they're playing better. They just swept the Tigers, who are not very good. They beat the Angels, who are not very good. Yeah, but hey, it's got to start somewhere, right? And what happened over here in the last 3 days with AJ Ewing and the influx of speed and youth and energy and everything like that to the team is exactly why I thought that they should have fired Mendoza probably about a month ago. Because this is what happens when you get, a young dynamic player, a prospect, somebody who's supposed to be the future. It's the same thing. It sparks the team. It's the same thing that happens when a manager gets fired. They all kind of look themselves in the mirror and they understand that they're the reason why this guy lost his job. He's now, out of a job. His family is going to, the whole thing. They kind of take accountability and then they play a little bit better for a little while. I would be, careful about turning the season around and everything like that. But hey, it's a start, right? 7 out of 10. They still have only 18 wins. That's the third fewest wins in baseball right now. The only teams that are worse are the Angels and the Rockies. So it's a start of something. You kind of hope at this point. I don't think the Mets it's a long way back. If you're talking about maybe getting into a wild card race or even a division race with the Braves in the top of that division, it's a long way back for this team after the start that they had. I mean, it's been terrible up until basically about a week ago. But the AJ Ewing and Benj playing well this week, contributing. They were in the middle of everything as far as the rallies go. The Mets scored 10 runs on Tuesday night. Then Wednesday they come back. They win a nail biter after falling behind. They come back. They win it in extra innings. Carson Benj gets the winning hit. And then today they put up 9 runs after falling behind 3-0 in the first inning. They come back and they play well. McClain pitches well after a rough first inning. And they came back and they did what they had to do. And they beat Detroit, a 3-game sweep. So you don't give it back. But I think it could be a start. AJ Ewing, listen, he looks like a fantastic player, right? He comes up here. He's fast. He reminds me of a little bit of Jose Reyes when he runs around the bases, and that's electric. When you're at the game, and Jose Reyes would hit one of those triples where he would you just watch him run it. It was unbelievable how fast he was. AJ Ewing's got a little bit of that. He's played okay in center field this week. He got some big hits. Hit his first home run today on a pitch that he had to make an adjustment on, and he hit it over 400 feet. Great. The bullpen was good yesterday. Pitch after Scott only went into the 5th inning. Bullpen came in, picked it up, no runs the rest of the way. You like that, but let's pump the brakes now. Big series here coming up. Yankees coming into town. Subway Series. I'm not a big Subway Series guy. I don't, I get it. It energizes people and it's fun. And it's the Yankees fans and the Mets fans. It's the Citi Field this year. I think this is a big series for the Mets, regardless of who they're playing. Yankees come in. You've won 7 out of 10 for the first time all season. There's a little bit of life in the ballpark, right? The last 2 days there was some life in that ballpark. Citi Field came alive a bit. You felt a little bit of energy. Because it's been a graveyard all season. Felt a little bit of energy there in the last couple of days. So it was fun. The Mets are playing fun baseball now. They're playing well over the last 10 games. This series right here, you can't go in now after coming off the back of this sweep. You can't go in and lose 2 out of 3 to the Yankees, and it's not going to be easy. It's certainly not going to be easy. Got to take 2 out of 3 minimum. You'd love a sweep. I mean, a sweep would be great. Then maybe you could kind of talk about getting back into things, but at least you have to win 2 out of 3. Not going to be easy. Like I said, you got Schlittler going tomorrow, arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now. 5-1 with a 1.35 ERA. Doesn't get any better than that. Now, Clay Holmes, going for the Mets, has been close. He's been one of, if not the best Mets pitcher on the staff so far this season. 4-3 with 1.86 ERA. And you're still in the part of the season where Clay Holmes pitches well before he fades out and it's, and he loses his arm strength because too many innings. We'll get to that down the road, later in the season. But then you got Carlos Rondon, who's beatable, right? It's only his second start coming back. He gave up a bunch of runs in the first inning, 6.23 ERA. During the first game he pitched. He's going, the Mets haven't announced the starter yet for the second game, the Saturday game. I'm not sure where they're going to go with it, but we'll see what happens. And then in the third game, you got Ryan Weathers and Freddie Peralta. An absolutely winnable game. So even if the Mets lose tomorrow night against Schlittler, who's obviously been, just lights out so far this season, they still got a good chance to take 2 out of 3. It's imperative that they take 2 out of 3. I think if you want to look at anything with this season, kind of gaining some momentum with this run, with the kids coming up, they need to take 2 out of 3. Because right now all they've done with this winning 7 out of 10, playing good, is they've energized a little bit of life into Citi Field. All right, the fan base is not dead yet. They came back to life a little bit with this sweep, and you've dug yourself out of the very worst in baseball. But you're still right there. They have 18 wins. You got the Rockies and the Angels are the only teams behind them with total wins for the season. 17 and 16, I believe. Rockies with 16, Angels with 17. Mets have 18 wins. They're 18 and 25. There's 7 games under 500. There's still 11 games out of the division. There's still 7 games out of the wild card with, the 11 teams or something in front of them. So it's still early to be looking at the standings, and I agree with that. But you find yourself peeking at it when they win, when they start winning like this. But it's like I said, what happened this weekend should have been done a month ago. Either what they should have done is fire Mendoza or brought up Ewing a month ago. Now, Ewing might not have been ready a month ago. He's been playing well in the minors. He's been hitting the ball. He's really been dominating down there. That's why they brought him up. And he played well in spring training for the Mets. But if you fire Mendoza, you get this a month ago, you get the same kind of spark that the Mets got this week. Because it just kind of jolts everybody into reality when you do something like fire the manager. And if they would have done that, I think they would have got this maybe spark and this momentum going a little bit earlier than the middle of May. And yeah, it might not be too late. Maybe they turn this thing around. Maybe they give us a summer. But it would have been a lot easier if they were in 10 or 12 games under 500 when they started to play better. It would have been a little bit easier if it wasn't middle of May, last place, worst record in baseball when they started playing better. And it was. It's a long way back for this Mets team this season before you really start thinking about things. But hey, played better. It's got to start somewhere, right? AJ Ewing looks like, he looks like the real deal. His minor league numbers say it's the real deal. He came up here this week in these 3 games, and he looked the part. Center fielder, decent glove out there, okay arm, but the bat, he hit that triple that was electric. Him rounding the bases. He hit the home run today to get them on the board, get them into the game. Benj then hit the 2-run home run. It's the kids, and when you bring up kids like that, it gives the fan base hope, not only for this year but for the future. And before this, coming into this weekend and coming, a week ago, there was no hope. No hope. The team stunk. The manager that they wanted fired wasn't fired. The owner hasn't come out really and said anything. The GM came out and said, we think we could come back. We could come back. We think we like this team. We like this team. And you're the worst, and you have the worst record in baseball. So that just pissed fans off even a little bit more. And then, so there was no hope. When you bring up somebody like AJ Ewing, the number 2 prospect in the system, and he has a weekend like he had this weekend, gives people hope. Like I said, it's not just for this season; it gives us hope for the future. And maybe we do have this thing, and the system is good. But the Mets have had that hope for decades. As long as I've been watching the Mets, it's always been hope. And the system, and the next guy coming up, and the number 2 and number 4 pitcher in the system, and Generation K, and wait till you see this guy coming up. Like I don't want that anymore. When are they coming? And when are they going to live up to the expectations? Yeah, it was a good weekend for Ewing, but we don't know. I could ring off a ton of Mets that had big opening weeks or came up with a lot of fanfare and really produced for a little while. And then they fizzle out. So, yeah, it's a good spark and it's a good start. And if they do come back and make it a run at this thing and at least give us a summer of baseball in Flushing, this is where it will have started. But be careful because they dug themselves a hole that is near impossible to get out of. Near impossible. Not impossible, but near impossible. Long way to go. 18-25. Yankees coming in who are limping around themselves. But once this spark that Ewing has brought to this team wears off, and it will they continue playing better? Will they continue to hit? Will they continue to win games? And the injuries are killing them. These injuries are really piling up now with Alvarez out basically the rest of the season. You might see him late August, September, basically the rest of the season. You just lost your starting catcher, who was really, through the first month, the only player in the lineup who was hitting consistently. You've lost your starting shortstop, possible future Hall of Famer, quasi-team captain for a couple months. So, when the spark wears off, is Hayden Senger, who was a nice player and a great story coming up last year, bagging groceries, the Kurt Warner situation type of thing. He played well. He didn't hit very well, but he was good with the staff. He was good good defensively. And him and Terrence, and I like Terrence. And Terrence is great behind the plate, and he's great with throwing out runners, but he doesn't hit a lick. He's a good backup catcher in the major leagues, is what Terrence is. And Senga's okay. He's a good story. It's fun. He'll get a big hit, and he had a nice bunt today on the safety squeeze. They're playing right now, right? It's not embarrassing anymore for these last 10 days. But like I said, long way to go. Long way to go, because in these 10 days where you went 7-3, you made up one game on the Braves. You went from 12 out to 11 out. You're still behind the Marlins, the Nationals, and you're still 7 games out of a wild card with about 10 or 11 teams in front of you. So to think, now you hope this is a start. You hope Ewing just tears the cover off the ball all weekend. They sweep the Yankees, and then you kind of get, okay, here we go. That's what you need to happen. But you better go out there and win at least 2 out of 3. Because going out there and losing 2 out of 3, or even worse, getting swept at home, will just put us right back where we were 10, 12 days ago. That's all they got to do. Go out there and win 2 out of 3 against one of the best teams in baseball. That's it. And then we can start talking about, other things. But hey, for a weekend, or for 3 days in the middle of May in Flushing, there was life in Citi Field. A.J. Ewing played unbelievable. Big hits all over the place. Home run today. The Mets had a comeback. Their bullpen was flawless yesterday, pitching 5 innings of just shutout baseball. Brazoban was really good. Williams came in and held it down in the 9th for the Mets to win it in the bottom of the inning. And you had Peralta on Tuesday, who was decent. Right? 6 innings, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts. That's what you need from Peralta. And that's what you're going to need from him going into his start against the Yankees. You had Scott, who went 4+. Okay, still a kid. He's another one, though, that's going to inject some life into this thing. And you had McLean today, who came out, gave up 3 runs. Just thought, oh, no, disaster. And what happened? He settled in. He pitched well. He pitched a good game. And the Mets were able to come back. No lead is safe against the Mets, right? But, hey, they hit. They scored some runs. They got 22 runs in 3 games. Maybe they're breaking out of it. Maybe they're breaking out of it. Maybe, Stearns is right to trust this team, but to me, I would just be careful with the optimism. Go out there, take care of business against the Yankees. Take 2 out of 3 of this series. It's imperative if you want to have a summer of baseball of any kind of meaning out at Flushing. It's imperative that they beat the Yankees, and we'll see how it goes. The Mets play well against the Yankees, right? They generally play well against the Yankees during the regular season. So we'll see. You got pitching matchups. Like I said, you got tomorrow is a good one, pitching matchup wise at least. Cam Schlittler against Clay Holmes. Then Carlos Rondon in his second start struggled in his first back against a pitcher to be named later by the Mets. See who they go with. And then in the third, and then on Sunday, you got Ryan Weathers, beatable, definitely beatable against Freddie Peralta, the Mets' big signing. Because, listen, the Vultures are still circling this team. They're a team still making the phone calls to the Mets, asking about Freddie Peralta, asking about Bo Bichette, because those teams think the Mets are done already. They want to get in early to snipe our players. And if it gets bad again, that could happen. But like I said, I think you wanted this spark a month ago, and you could have got it if you fired Mendoza, because when you fired a manager, you will get a little bit of a spark, and you will get kind of win a couple of games. It's just the way it goes. And they didn't do it. They gave us nothing. A couple of days ago, you had Stearns out there going, I like this team. I think we could turn it around. We're disappointed with the start, but we're okay where we are. Come on. Nobody's okay where you are. Nobody's okay where you are, even after going 7-3 in the last 10. So let's hope this spark stays. Let's hope Ewing continues to hit. Let's hope Benj continues to hit. The fielding for Benj has got to get better. He blew that thing out in center field yesterday. And then it cost them runs, and it's got to get better, and it's going to be tough with the injuries. With Alvarez now out months with the meniscus, knee surgery. It's going to be tough with Lindor out months. Soto's starting to hit a little bit, Bo Bichette a little bit. Let's see if they can continue it through the next 3 days. Yankees in town, Subway Series. We will have full coverage of it right here, Locked Up Sports. And that does it for me here today. Mets win today, 9-4. They sweep the Tigers. Yankees coming in tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Mets, 7 of their last 10 winners, and they are now 18-25, 7 games under 500. And getting to 500, that's the first thing. First step, get to 500. Don't talk about anything else until you get there. There's 7 games to go, 7 games under 500. Let's see how they do. So that does it for me. From the Brian Gunzel Studios, have a good day, everybody. Don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See you.